Hare Krishna. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah. So welcome to Hare Krishna Valley. This is a spiritual place. This is a place where the material problems do not exist to the degree that they exist outside of our boundary. We have 200 acres here. This is a place of peace. This is a place of spiritual enlightenment, where we live an enlightened existence. You see on the front sign it says natural living, higher thinking. So our motto here is to live naturally, in harmony with nature. We have 25 cows and bulls. You can meet them after lunch, if you'd like to meet them. They live here in 5-star luxury, in a cow haven. It's a very significant place actually, because it's one of the only places in Australia where the cows are born and they die without fear. That doesn't happen practically. Our next door neighbour is a beef farmer. So the cows are born for one purpose, to not live very long. So it's like living in a Nazi camp. Now what do they used to call those camps?
Concentration.
What are they called?
Concentration camp.
Concentration camp, yeah. So that's basically what they do. That's what the rest of the world is doing. I watched a very good documentary the other day actually. It's called Seaspiracy. Hands up if you've seen it. Okay. One thing I humbly request is everyone watch it. If you want to get an idea of what's actually going on what's actually going on the planet. All of the problems, and Prabhupada, who was the founder of the Hare Krishna movement, he started this movement. He brought it to the West and spread it around the world. He always said that the main problem with Western civilization, and now Eastern civilization too, is eating meat. Eating meat and fish and chickens and everything. And actually he's right, because once I saw this documentary, Seaspiracy, about what's going on in the ocean, we're actually, if we keep going at the rate we're going now, with the consumption of fish, there won't be any fish left in the ocean by 2048, which means the entire ecosystem will be broken up, and greenhouse gases, which is primarily coming from the ocean and maintained in a state of equilibrium by the ocean, this is going to go totally out of balance, and the world's going to be in a very difficult situation. So we need massive changes. So here at Hare Krishna Valley we teach everyone, because we don't eat fish. Right? We don't eat meat. There's also another brilliant documentary called Cowspiracy. Hands up if you've seen that one. Yeah, that one's been out longer, but that's very good as well. Basically it's eating animals which is causing the problems on the planet. So what we do here is show the positive alternative. You can live peacefully with nature, you don't have to eat animals, and you can live an enlightened existence and elevate your consciousness to a much higher state. So that's what we're teaching people. Elevate your consciousness to a much higher state. Because you see what's happening out in the world these days, right? Our motto is simple living, high thinking, right? And outside in the Western civilization, basically the motto is simple thinking and high living. It's the opposite of what we do. And we see how well that's going for everyone. Our Western civilization is just becoming more and more peaceful, more and more enlightened, and more unproblematic, which is not true. The problems are just escalating beyond control, actually. So, what we do here is we just ask if anyone has any questions or any comments, anything you'd like to ask about the meaning of life, the universe and everything, and anything at all, about our lifestyle or philosophy, then you can ask and I can try to answer those questions. So if anyone has anything they'd like to ask, then please. Any deep burning question you've always wanted to ask a Hare Krishna when you could. Now you have our undivided attention, so anything you'd like to ask. Any other questions? So, yeah.
Do you learn to cook from recipes, or are you taught to cook?
All the recipes are revealed within our heart in a deep state of meditation. No, I'm joking. We have cookbooks. If you go in our shop's just behind us here. You go in the shop, we have many cookbooks. stuff like that. So yeah, these recipes are thousands of years old actually. What we follow is called a lacto-vegetarian diet. So we have cows, we milk cows, we take the milk, we don't harm the cows. So a lot of people became vegan these days, which is good. It's good to be vegan. We're not vegan. We take the ahimsa milk. We milk our cows and then we take the milk from the cows without harming them. They don't mind giving the milk. When you love them, they like to give it. It's not exploitation. Sometimes vegan people go too far. They say it's exploitation. It's not exploitation. Come and see our cows. They're not exploited. It's quite the opposite, actually. They're waited on hand and foot. Yeah, we go and clean their poo in the morning. Hands up if anyone cleans your poo. They have a very close relationship with us, so it's not exploitation. But the recipes which we follow in our movement are going back thousands of years. And some of the things that you'll taste today at lunchtime, the recipes are thousands of years old. And if we actually live in this way, like now they're talking about overpopulation being a problem. Sometimes you hear, Bill Gates and everyone's, Elon Musk now, he just became the richest man in the world. He's also talking about overpopulation. So now he's trying to get to Mars, to take a lot of us to Mars. So, but actually there is no overpopulation. You can grow all the food for 7 billion of us on the planet just in the landmass of India, right? If it's lacto-vegetarian, right? If it's vegetarian, vegan, lacto diet, we only need India to produce all the food. So there is no overpopulation problem. Actually, we could have 6 times more people on the planet than we do right now. And if we all followed a pure vegetarian diet, we could easily maintain everyone. It wouldn't even be difficult. But everyone's talking about overpopulation, of course, because the way they're living on the land and producing the animals just for slaughter, then the resources which are being burnt up, that's why the problem is there. So here at Hare Krishna Valley, we'll teach you recipes and we'll give you the food which is coming. These ancient recipes, thousands of... Vegetarian food is not boring. Yeah, Hare Krishna food is not boring. I mean, people criticize us for different things, but no one ever criticizes our food. Okay, the haircut's weird and the dancing and shaking the tambourine. Okay, that's maybe it's not your cup of chai, but no one criticizes the food. The food is first class, and if you eat like that, you'll become strong. Do we look weak? Do you see us dancing before? People can't keep up with us. We get up 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. We go all day. We're strong. 2 hours of meditation. Work on the farm. Next weekend we're cutting wood, 40 tons of wood. Right, if you want to come and help us, we have working bee. We'll give you nice meals.
Saturday or Saturday?
Both. Yeah, 20 tons a day. 40 tons a day is too much. We're just humans. So yeah, we're strong. There's no problem. There's no defect. You don't need to eat meat to be strong. People tell us, just like one of my friends, she was here yesterday, and she is anemic. She's, women, because of their period, they lose blood, and then it's very common iron goes down, so iron's quite low at the moment. So I gave her some advice. We were giving her advice on things she should take, natural things, nettle and yellow dock, things like that to increase the iron. But then she said, her doctor said you have to take red meat. That's not true. That's not true. So many people take red meat and they've got anemia. It's a problem in society these days. It's actually a lifestyle problem more than anything. So, yeah, if you can eat like this and be very powerful, very strong. That's a nice question. Thank you. Any other questions?
Ishwar,
Yeah.
just with setting expectations, probably yourself setting them, and how it affects the ego and how that can be so destructive to you. What's the way of, just lowering that ego down?
Lowering the ego. Yeah, it's a nice question. Nice question. Yeah. We have to understand who we actually are. That's the first thing we have to understand. Most people don't even know who they are. And then in the modern world, when we say, who are you? They think we're talking about things to do with the mind, actually. It's mental identification. It's what we call in Sanskrit upadhi. Upadhi means a bodily designation. So if I ask you, who are you? Right? You'll say, I am man or woman. That's false. That's false. That's not a correct answer. Because you're spiritual, who you actually are spiritually, who your soul is, it will be male or female. There are male and female souls, but you don't know, it's not based on this body. You might be in a female body now, but your actual eternal form may be male. I might be in this form now, but my eternal form may be female. So that's not true. If people say, who am I? And then people say, I'm from India, or I'm from Australia, or Zimbabwe, or Africa, wherever you were from. But that's also not true. Because that is the life that you were born in this life. If you go back 60, 70 years, you were in a different body. You might have been African, or Irish, or you could have been anything. So that's not true. If you say I'm Australian, that's not true either. So first of all, you have to understand who you are. Most people don't even understand who they are. Now, if you ask people, who are you? They'll say, I'm Australian, I'm a doctor, I'm a man, I like chapatis. They'll say, everyone will give their thing. That's all part of it. That's all false. That's all temporary. So Bhagavad Gita, the great book, the Bhagavad Gita, which we base our teachings upon, the Bhagavad Gita teaches us that we are spirit by nature. Right? You have to understand you are the soul. That's the first thing. Now what happened is the pure soul, originally all of us were pure. But then we fell into this world, we became covered by mind, intelligence, and ego. So now that's the problem. Because ego, by definition, means identity. So all of us have an identity. Ego is not false. The problem is the ego we have now is false. Because we identify with something that we're not. So that's called false ego, or in Sanskrit we say ahankara, which means false ego. So how do you reduce that false ego? What is ego in this world? How do we define ego? If I asked you to define ego, how would you define it? You're all very wise people. You've all come here today. Great sages. Equalers of heaven. So please tell me your wisdom. What is that?
Part of your personality.
Part of your personality? Yeah, you can define it like that. That's correct. Yeah. How would you define ego in this world?
Judgmental. Being judgmental.
Yeah, being judgmental. That's like a symptom of it. That's true. That's good. And how do we define ego in this world? Ego.
Identifying with your body.
Very good. Yeah, identifying with your body. Yeah, that's ego. Yeah, in the Bhagavad Gita in the 16th chapter, Krishna says, Ishwar aham bogi siddhoham balavan sukhi. Which means that we think we are the Ishwara. Ishwaroham. I am Ishwara. Ishwara means controller. Right, that's ego. I'm the controller. Just like Frank Sinatra. Right, had a very big ego. I'm not being judgmental, but I'm being objective. I think, if I'm wrong, please tell me, but it appeared he had a very big ego. And his famous song, I did it my way. I did it. That whole ego, I'm the controller. I did it my way. This is ego. I am the controller. Everything should be controlled by me. That's when we're in egotistic consciousness, when we think like that. And we all get into that consciousness, right? And when things don't go the way we want, we become very upset. So that's ego. Ishwaraham aham bogi. Bogi means enjoyer. I am the enjoyer. I want to control everything so I can enjoy. Now we have a big problem on this planet right now. We have a lot of big problems, but possibly the number one big problem is mental health, right? Which during COVID spiraled. They said it increased 4 times around the planet. It was already a pandemic. It was already we already had an epidemic of mental health, and now it's escalated. So I was speaking to someone yesterday who is depressed, who suffers from depression, and I was explaining to them because they've said they've tried so many things and it's not working. Right? They're trying so many things to overcome it and it's not working. And I said, well, if you want our advice, if you want to take it from a spiritual perspective, What is it that we have to change on the deepest level in our consciousness? If you have a mental health problem, it is because you have become too egocentric. That's the crux of the problem. I mean, I know there's so many layers, but the crux of the problem is it's all about us. And when I hear about people these days speaking, everyone's just talking about themselves. This happened to me, and that happened to me, and that happened to me, and that happened. If I told you now, I'm not going to because I don't want to get into that headspace and don't necessarily have the time, but if I told you what's happened in my life up until now, right, you would be shocked or, I don't know the word to describe it. It's heavy stuff. And I don't think there's anyone in this room who hasn't been through probably equal to or more or maybe less than me. We've all been through a lot. But people, they get too much absorbed in these things. I've been through a lot, but I don't dwell on it. I don't let it define me or control me. So people too much, their ego is too much about themselves. My life, this happened to me, these things, and my life has to be like this, and I want this, and I want that. Prabhupada, our guru, said, as soon as you say, I want, that is sense gratification. That's selfishness. I want. My guru said to me one time, about nearly 25 years ago, I said to my guru one time, he said, why do you want this? I wanted something in particular. I wanted to make a particular decision. He said, why do you want this? And I began to explain it. And he looked at me and he said, who cares what you want? Who cares what you want? And I very much appreciated that instruction from my guru. Who cares what you want? Because ultimately he was telling me, it's all about your ego. So ego means that it's too much about us. So ego does exist. We have an ego. Ego means identity. But real ego means Jivera Srupahoy Krishnera Nichadas, which means I am eternally a servant. As soon as you get into that consciousness, which is real ego, so many of your problems coming from your material ego disappear. So I was telling this person yesterday, he said, I suffer from depression. I said, stop thinking about yourself, start thinking about other people. Right? Mother Teresa says, help someone and start with the person sitting next to you. You don't have to travel to Calcutta to help people. Right? Just start with the people next to you. Just say to someone, you okay? Are you okay? I mean, you're probably okay, but I'm just saying, if someone's here, just say, are you okay? Do you need something? Can I serve you? Can I help you? That's what we do here at Hare Krishna Valley. I'll get to you. That's how we overcome depression. Right? We don't walk around depressed. Frankly, I haven't got time. It's a waste of my time to be depressed. It's a waste of my time. Right? If I want to think about all the problems I had in my life, I would be depressed. I could be suicidal easily. But no, I don't focus on those things. I focus on helping other people. Right? All of you are coming here today. So what am I going to do? Sit in my house and go, oh my God, when I was 18, my girlfriend left me. And that's what people do their whole lives. I know people their whole lives. If things happened 20 years ago, oh my God, yeah, it happened, man. That's it. Yeah, it happened to me, it happened to you, that's it. It happened to all of us. Hands up if you haven't had any problems so far in your life. Anyone? No problems? Anyone? Even the kids aren't putting their hands up. That just shows what this world's actually like. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dukkalayam Shashvatam. This world is miserable and temporary. He says that. Because originally we weren't here, we used to live with him in the spiritual world, in heaven. Or we call it Goloka. We were with God, with Krishna. And then we came here. And when we came here, there's a big sign on the front door as you enter the material world. It says, Dukkalayam, miserable, Ashashvatam, temporary. Go and enjoy yourself. So we all got here, and now we're all sitting here, and people go to the psychologist and everything. Oh, why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? Because it's not supposed to work. You're in the wrong place. If you want where it's not temporary and it's not miserable, do a 180-degree turn and go back to the spiritual world, because up there it is not miserable and it's not temporary, it's eternal. And everyone's fine. Right? There's no internet. There's no iPhones. There's no taxes. There's no divorce. There's no bad breath. There's no hip replacements. Right? Everything's free. Right? And everyone's blissful all the time. Why? Because everyone is in the mood of service. No one up there is in the mood of exploitation. It's not about them, it's about giving to others. Right? So that's basically how you overcome ego. Like that. And people are... Oh, I've just got a phone call. No, I'm not going to take it. I actually do, but I'm not going to take it. Or I could put it on FaceTime, show... Hello? They'll call back. So, yeah, that's how we overcome our ego. Right? Get out of your ego, right? And understand who you actually are. You're a servant. Right? And when you're a servant, you're always happy. Right? Can you imagine someone who's like always, like Prabhupada, someone who's always there, or Mother Teresa, someone who's dedicated their life to service? They don't have mental problems. Right? This is all just a symptom of being too self-absorbed. And it's unfortunate the world's like that. So we're trying to teach people, lift out of it. Become an actual spiritual beacon of light for the universe and actually serve people. You want to add anything?
No, I think that's true. I think that's probably just where I've always felt myself, my role in this body was a service to others.
Yeah.
Something came up in my life that took me off that track a little bit, and I was coming back in, but sometimes I probably had to have that bit of a lesson to realise that my job here is service to others.
Yeah. And when you do that, you're happy. I'm exhausted half the time because I'm doing so much service, but I wake up in the morning, my heart is content. I woke up this morning, I thought, great, all you guys are coming, 100 people are turning up, fantastic. Means we've got to work hard. That's what I thought this morning. I woke up, I thought, great, be good if only 10 of you turned up, it'd be a lot easier, and we don't have to cook as much and do as much. But no, actually, I'm joking, because actually I'm happy. The more people come, the better. Remember when we started here? How many people we used to get?
4.
4, was it? Was that? Was it?
I reckon we had 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it that small, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's going right back. I've been here 14 years now, so it's like, like 4 people. Yeah, maybe sometimes it was like when it was in the other room. Yeah, before we turned this into the temple then. It was funny, as soon as we moved in here, we used to do it in the other room. And then, we turned this twice as big. As soon as we did that, it started filling up. Now my vision's 1,000 people. Why just do 100 people? Do 1,000 people. Build a big temple over there, right? Now I'll sit up on a platform and have a big microphone. And, 1,000 people. Why not? The world's lost, so why keep it to 100? Okay, it's more work. I'll be tired of it, but in my heart, I'll be happy. You're going to be tired anyway. What's the difference? If you're a Hare Krishna, you're tired. If you're not a Hare Krishna, you're tired. So what's the difference? So you might as well do something meaningful with your life and exhaust yourself for higher power. So, Kelly, you had
I'm just curious, when you started your journey as a Hare Krishna, what did your service look like?
When I started, I grew up in Eltham, which is north of Melbourne. You might know Doncaster, Eltham, like northern suburbs. A very nice place to live. And we had a nice house and nice land. My dad was a businessman and had a nice place. And on the weekends, my dad used to make me weed the garden. And I used to hate it. To me, it was like torture. When you're 15, 16, 17, it's like, go and weed the garden. We had like 3/4 of an acre. Go and weed the garden. I thought, are you crazy? So I go and weed like that. Then I moved into the Hare Krishna temple and then, joined the ashram, became a monk. The first day I was there, the monk came up to me and he said, can you weed the garden? And it was funny because I was blissful. I was totally happy. Totally happy. I was just weeding the garden. And I said to him, this is so strange because, my dad used to say the same thing to me. And I used to hate it. And now it's like, because I'm doing it for Krishna, doing it for God, doing it for a spiritual purpose, I'm blissful, I'm happy. So that was the first thing I did. And then we have restaurants in the city in Swanston Street. So then I went there for a couple of months. I worked in the restaurants, serving the people and doing all those things. And then then they asked me to go and learn how to sell books, Hare Krishna books. So I spent about 8 years traveling Australia and around the world a little bit, and mainly in Melbourne, selling our books on the street. So I'd just stand on the street, people would walk by, and I'd say, "Excuse me, are you from Melbourne or from another place?" And they'd say, "I'm from Melbourne." And I'd say, "Oh, great, I'll give you one of these books." And they'd say, "I'm from another place." I'd say, "Oh, great, I'll give you one of these books." Right. It's called a qualifying question. And then I'd explain about the books, and they'd say, "Please give a donation. We're monks, please give a donation." So I did that for many years. So that's more or less what I did when I started. And then I moved here 14 years ago, and this was a school. We used to run this as a Hare Krishna school, long time back. And then I got here, and then we turned it into a retreat center. Now we run retreats a lot. And that's how I started. Peace, man.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You spoke about the purpose of life. So how do you define, in your view, what's the purpose of us being here, and how someone reaches this purpose?
So what is the question?
What's the purpose of life? Because everyone comes and thinks about what am I doing here? What's my purpose? So I think you touched a bit on it, but I'd like to hear more.
Yeah, that's very good. Nice question. So what is the purpose of life? Yeah, the purpose of life, as we said, is to serve. First of all, is to understand who you actually are. As we said, you are spiritual by nature. You're not material. The body is just temporary. Right? But you are spiritual by nature. So the purpose of life is to understand that. Then to understand your eternal relationship with Krishna, God. We say Krishna. People say God in the West, but God is like the position. Like we say the Prime Minister. Right? That's the position. But the people change. Who do we have now? Scott Morrison. Yeah, we have Scott Morrison. Before that we had, was it Turnbull?
Yeah.
Before that we had Abbott, was it? And before, yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, so I don't pay a lot of attention to it, to be honest. Because to me it doesn't matter who they put in, they're all about the same. Right? Prabhupada said cow dung. Our guru. Prabhupada said cow dung. Only cow dung. There's not much else in there. Because they can't work out the problems. Like we can work out the problems in about 5-6 minutes. Right? They have spend all this money doing this stuff, and the world's just getting worse. You know? So yeah, they've got to change a lot of things. So the position is the Prime Minister, but who is the person? The person has a name, right? He has he has likes, he has dislikes, he has pastimes where he likes to spend his time. Everyone has individuality. So God is the position, but in our theology and our teachings, we understand that the person is Krishna. He's the blue cowherd boy you see in all the pictures. Right? He's a blue cowherd boy. That's how we understand God from the ancient teachings. So our purpose of our life is to dedicate ourselves to serving Him. Right? And once you dedicate, you say to Him, "What would you like me to do?" He says, "Go and invite a whole bunch of people to your farm on Sunday and teach them about spirituality and give them nice vegetarian food, which is offered to Him." We're doing the offering right now. Behind there, He blesses it, becomes spiritualized. The Hare Krishna food is it's not just material. It's not just good food. It's actually offered to God, to Krishna. It's blessed, it's sanctified. When you eat it, you become purified. You become enlightened just by eating. That's how easy this process is. You just eat, you become enlightened. That's why the Hare Krishnas eat a lot, because we want to become enlightened. We meditate on pakoras. So the purpose of life is to understand who you are, what your relationship with the Supreme is, and how to serve, which is called bhakti. Bhakti means devotion. So that's a nutshell.
Most of the people have not been able to get out of materiality completely. So there is a bit of a balance they need to maintain in their life. Do you have any suggestion for them or any advice?
Go to the forest. Go to the Himalayas and find a nice cave. No, like I have a wife, I have a daughter. Like my daughter's 16. She goes to a school in Geelong because she's. Have you heard of the band Sweethearts in Geelong? Sweetheart. My daughter's in the band, so she's a soul. She's in the soul band. They're quite well known, and she's part of that. So she plays the flute. She's on level 8, which is she's quite accomplished. So yeah, she came home the other day and she said, I need a new flute. And I said, oh, awesome. I said, so what are we looking at? She said, like $2,000. And I said, awesome. Like that. So like I'm in this world, I'm like you, I'm not out of this world. You know, it costs a lot to have kids, and you know, she has to go to a school with a good music program, which costs like about $7,000 a year just to go to the school. You know, and I said, well, why couldn't you choose like a different something so you can go to like a cheap school? No, I have to go to this school. So I'm in it with you like that. But what I do, I get up early in the morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. We do our meditation, right? We study spiritual books, right? We offer our food to God, to Krishna. We live a spiritual way of life. So don't put all your energy just into the material success and like that. Don't just become rich and leave a rich corpse behind. What's the point? What did you accomplish? You know, what is Donald Trump accomplishing? Right? You know, he said, one of his sayings is, he who dies with the most toys wins. Well done, Donald. Well done. You know, now you have a big building, you die, you don't take it with you. You know, like the pharaohs, they used to, you know, pack all the stuff in the tomb. You know, it doesn't go with you, that's silly. It's like, and the Japanese, you know, they found that terracotta army. You know, so he's taking all his soldiers with him to the next life. He's probably a dog in Sweden. You know, your soldiers don't follow behind you when you're going down the street, you know, looking for garbage. It's like, you know, it doesn't work like that. Yeah. So just have a balance, that's all. But the Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna. Arjuna was a king, a prince. He was like us, he was busy. You know, I'm not just like meditating all the time. There's a tennis court just up the road in Bamborough. Sometimes we go and play tennis up there. So me and my brother, we went up there. He lives up the front of the property, so we went to play tennis. So, you know, I was on the court, and then some other local people, they turned up. And, you know, I've got my Hare Krishna haircut, so they could see I was a Hare Krishna. So, you know, we're playing tennis. And then they turned up and they started playing tennis. And then the guy says to me, you know, our ball went onto his court, so I went over to get it. And he goes, oh, you had a break from your praying, did you? And I said, yeah, I just pray all day, that's all I do. Well, what do people think we do here? Well, we just sit there and just pray or just meditate, or, you know, we're fixing fences, you know, we're looking after cows, we're running retreats, we're busy as anyone is. You know, so we're all in the same boat basically, but we have a balanced life, that's the point. Don't just make it all materialistic, otherwise, I mean, what do people do basically? If you look at the world these days, in a nutshell, first thing, 80%, they did a survey, 80% of the population, the first thing they do when they get up in the morning is, right, the guru, right? Whatever the guru tells me, I will do it, right? That's the first thing they do. Then they go to work hard all week, long hours, in jobs they don't like, right? I'm generalizing, but, right? Come home, right? Cook something, right? Watch Netflix, right? And then maybe have some sex, but most of the time, you know, too tired. And your wife says, no, I'm too tired, I've got a headache, you know, leave me alone, right? I heard a conversation one time, I was in a public toilet, and the guy in the next, like, they're cleaning the women's toilets, I could hear the cleaner speaking, and he was saying exactly that. He said, I work so hard, and I go home, and my week is like, and then at the end of the day, I have one thing that gives me pleasure, you know, being with my wife. And she says, I'm too tired. I said, what's life for? You know, I was just thinking, my God, you know, it's like something coming out of our books. You know, it's like, this is exactly what material life is like. So don't live your life just like that, like a materialist. You know, try to become gradually enlightened also. Have a balance, that's all. Is it okay? Would you like to add anything?
No, I like your idea, because I'm just thinking of where the balance is. So maybe it's, as we experience it and we'll try and do it, we'll find a balance ourselves.
The balance comes in discipline. That's where the balance comes on, discipline. You have to just, like, we get up early, 4 or 5, that's discipline, right? So if you just want to spend your life sleeping and all, you have to push a little bit. If you want the material and the spiritual as well, you have to push a little bit. You have to become a spiritual warrior. TK? Okay. That's good. Someone else had their hand up before? So, yeah.
I'll go back to the original topic of the ego.
Yeah.
Where is the fine line between a self-respect and the ego?
Between what?
Self-respect and ego.
Yeah, like you said, it's a fine line. You know, we have, like, I feel good about myself. I like myself. You know, I'm not trying to speak in an egotistical way, but I like myself. But, you know, I've got a lot of areas to improve as well. So that's realistic. These days, there's this whole thing, I don't know why exactly, 100%, but there's so much of the population of the planet at this point in time has very low self-esteem issues. Right? It's like that's actually the pandemic or the epidemic. You know, and then everything on the internet's about, oh, you got to feel good about yourself, and just do this and like that, and come on, lift yourself up, and you know, you're really worth something and all like that. I don't know why. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure why people are feeling like that so much. It's very much to do with the way they were brought up, their childhood and different experiences. But, you know, I'm the same as everyone else. I've been in this world for, you know, I'm 51 now, so I've been in this world for a while. And I've had, you know, negative exchanges. I've had people say all sorts of not nice things about me and all those things. But it doesn't really lower my self-esteem. Like, I still feel good about myself. And if someone doesn't like me, that's cool. I'm just like, well, you know, if I'm not your cup of chai, that's okay. You know, you have your life, I'll have my life. That's all good. So I'm not sure why people like that. But yeah, to have good self-esteem, that's natural. We should feel good about ourselves, but not in an egotistic way. You know, we don't have to go around and say, oh, I'm so brilliant, I'm so great, because we have so many problems. So you have to be a little realistic about yourself. You know, you can point one finger at someone, there's three fingers pointing back at you. So you know, we all have problems. I know I've got problems. I'm not perfect. So I'm not going to present myself as being something more than I am. I don't know if that helps or not.
The last one helps something more than what I am.
Yeah, people just have this, yeah, it's a fine line these days, because people, I don't know why people are so caught up about how they feel and everything. Once again, I think it's because people are too much into themselves. You know, if you're thinking about helping other people, you don't get so caught up in all of that. Yeah, I don't sit around all day thinking, oh, you know, am I a good person, am I not a good person? I don't think like that. I just think, you know, how can I help other people? So. Any other questions? Yeah.
Some people, when they go through the cycle of success and failure, they don't complain when everything is fine, but they start complaining when they start seeing failures. Why does this happen to me? Why should I even have been born if I had to go through this? Some people, that's where, as you touched, they feel, you know, maybe committing suicide is a good idea. But do they end up carrying it? Because some people look at it as a solution. Do they end up carrying it to the, you know, the next birth, the next janma? Or how does it actually work? Or is it like cleanse it up once and for all, and as you said, become a better person, and then identify who you are?
Yeah, there's two elements to the question. The first element is, you know, we're happy as long as all the good things are happening in our life. But as soon as there are some negative things, we all complain and, oh no, that's not good, and why I don't deserve this and all this. Yeah, you do deserve it. You do deserve it. The ancient teachings, the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, they teach us that if there are any problems in your life, hands up if you have problems. Okay, half the audience, I don't know what the other half. Maybe you're just hungry or something. I don't know. I'll ask again. Hands up if you have problems in your life. Yes, it's getting better. Some people may have got enlightenment, so therefore they don't feel that they have problems, but generally, most of us, humans, then we have problems. So, the ancient teachings say, where do the problems come from? Because people say, you know, this happened to me, why did it happen to me? It's because in your previous lives, you did so many negative activities. You know, there's many lives we've had, many lives. You've done so many negative activities, so when something negative happens to you, that's an aggregate karma from a previous birth or previous births. So it's all you. You're the only one to blame. You can't blame God. He just set the whole thing up. He's not involved now. He just set it up. Remember he put the signs at the front gate? Right? Temporary and miserable. He said, he probably put another sign saying, do a U-turn. Now. You know, but we didn't listen, so we came in. Right? So he just set the whole thing up. So it's not his fault. It's not anyone else's fault. It's our fault. Right? And to realize that, you have to be very deep. I'm not even on that level. Sometimes things happen to me and I blame the other person. But actually that's not correct. It's actually me. I cause the problems. So if anything negative is happening in our life, that is where it's coming from. The positive things, as you said, we all like the positive things, but that's not self-realization. Krishna says in Gita, Matra spashas tu konteya shitosna sukha dukkha da. Sukha dukkha means happiness and distress. They both come. Right? Sometimes happiness comes, right? We don't get carried away. Sometimes distress comes. They're two sides of the same coin. You got to take the good with the bad, yeah. Because what do you know? If you're really happy right now in your life, what do you know? Misery is coming. And if you're really miserable in your life right now, what do you know? Happiness is coming. So what's the big deal? Krishna says sukha dukkha, shitoshna, shita ushna means summer and winter. Right? Winter's coming. Right? You can't say I just want summer forever. If you want summer forever, go and live in Bali. Right? But if you want to live in Melbourne, you're going to get everything. Right? So this is the change of this world. Right? So you can't. So then you ask, does it go into your next life? Yeah, if your mind, because your mind goes with you. Your body changes, but your mind goes with you. Your mind carries your soul to the next place. So if you don't change your mentality, you go into the next birth with the same mentality. Just like you see kids, because we were all kids once. You see kids. Some kids are just really nice from the beginning. Some kids are just really not nice from the beginning. Right? Why is that? Because in their previous life, that's what they were. Right? So if you come into this life, right, now you've got to make an adjustment. Look at yourself. Right? If there are things that need to improve, improve them quickly, because you don't know how much time you have. Right? Become spiritually enlightened and go back to Krishna. That's our advice. Or stay here and enjoy yourself. Whatever you'd like to say.
Do you know if we can break the karmic cycle? End it? Is there a way that we can do that?
Yeah, that's what we teach you. Yeah, we don't want to keep getting born again and again and again. I mean, I'm actually thinking now. I mean, I just watched this documentary the other day. 2048, they don't change the fishing industry, right? The fish and it's going to be big mess, catastrophic mess. And I don't think they are going to change, I'm being honest. I don't think suddenly everyone's going to become enlightened. I really don't think that's going to happen. It might slow down, but I think society is quite ignorant as a whole. I'm being generalizing. So I don't want to be born again. You think it's going to be better next time? That's not going to be better. So yeah, get out. That's our whole message, is get out quickly. So how do you break the cycle? How do you break the karma? You know that mantra we were chanting in the beginning? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I've been chanting that for the last 30 years, 2 hours a day in meditation. Right? That mantra breaks the karmic cycle. It brings enlightenment. Right? It stops you from acting in this world in the materialistic way. It purifies your consciousness and takes you back to Krishna. It makes you develop love for Krishna, love for God. And then you can break the cycle and go back. So yeah, that's all we do. We don't want to come back here. Even in Delhi, we don't want to come back. Delhi is smelly. Now it's the second most polluted city in the world. Like, big problem. Like, the whole world's full of problems.
What are your thoughts on ignorance is bliss? The whole saying that being ignorant really is like a better life.
Yeah, there's a saying that ignorance is bliss. Yeah. Prabhupada, the founder of our movement, he said there are two happy people in this world. One is enlightened, the other one is crazy. There's only two happy people in this world. Like, ignorance is bliss. If you're crazy, yeah. But you see crazy people walking around, they're happy as anything. But they're mad. They're not enlightened. Right? But, yeah, you're better off being an enlightened person. Right? And then you're blissful, but it's not from ignorance, it's from jnana, or knowledge. Right? Knowledge also causes bliss. Yeah. Someone else had a question? I saw a hand up somewhere. Any other questions? Anyone?
What happens to those who don't believe in rebirth?
Who don't believe in rebirth?
Yes.
Who don't believe in reincarnation?
Yes.
It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter. Okay. That's gravity, right? That's gravity. Okay. Just broke my phone. No, I didn't realize. So that's gravity, right? That's gravity, right? So you can say, I don't believe in gravity. Doesn't mean anything. So you can say, I don't believe in reincarnation. Doesn't mean anything. It's happening. It's happening in this body. Every 7 years, all the cells in your body change. So you don't have the same body that you had 7 years ago. That's reincarnation. In Latin, the word carne means flesh. Reincarnate means to change flesh. That's what reincarnation means, to change bodies. You're doing that in this lifetime. You're reincarnating in this lifetime. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dehinosmin yata dehi, kaumaram, yovanam, jara. Kaumara means young. Yeah. Yovana means youth. Kaumara, small. Yovana, youth. Jara, old. So you're already doing reincarnation. Your body's... If you look at yourself, if I look at myself when I'm 7 years old, I don't look anything like now. If I look at myself in another 20 years, I don't look anything like now. Right? So the body is changing. That's reincarnation. You're already doing it. So someone says, I don't believe in it. It doesn't matter. All these things don't matter. This is just the mind. Just like in spirituality, people say, whatever you believe, whatever I believe, that's beautiful and it will all happen. Right? Peace, man. It's like, it's all beautiful. It doesn't mean anything. Oh, what do you believe? Well, it doesn't mean what I believe. It's what's reality. That's what's important. So the reason I follow these teachings is because I've studied many, many teachings around the world, and all the teachings have truth in them. But I find, personally, these teachings have the most enlightenment. And I'm addicted to enlightenment. You know, I was a monk for 8 years. That's my focus. So why do I follow these teachings? Because I find them the most enlightening teachings, that's all. And if I find more enlightening teachings tomorrow, I'll start following those teachings. So it's not a matter of what you believe, it's a matter of what actually works. If it changes your consciousness, if you become enlightened, then yeah, it's working. So it's not belief, it's reality. It's experiential. It's what you're actually experiencing. That's it. So if people say they don't believe in rebirth or reincarnation, it doesn't mean anything. It's just their opinion. Yeah.
Just a second question. Especially in the Sanatana, as you talk about the ego, normally they talk about two things. Either you encompass everything, where like in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, they say Brahma, no Brahma, Havi. Everything is universe, basically. And it's all the universe in different forms in play. So you identify with the entire universe. Or there's other extreme which says it negates everything, like Nirvana Shatak, Mano Buddhi Ahankara, Chitta Ninaham. It keeps negating everything, neither I'm one, neither I'm Buddhi, neither I'm Ahankara. That whole Shankaracharya's Shatak is all about negating everything. But in reality, all of us with a material body are somewhere in between. We always identify with some things and then we say, I versus others. How exactly you deal with this kind of thing?
Yeah, there's two schools of thought in the universe. Right? In Eastern philosophy and Western philosophy, all philosophy, there's only two schools of thought. God is a person, or God is just energy and light. Right? Now you quoted Shankara.
Yeah.
Shankara is the most prominent guru who taught that everything is just energy and light. Right? But our school of thought, my tradition, is the opposite. It is God is a person. He's a very cool guy. His name is Krishna. And he plays with cows. And he plays a flute. And he's a very, very cool dude. Or you can go to the mentality that everything is just energy and light. You can't have a relationship with energy or light. You can be energy and light, you can exist in energy and light, but higher than that, we would say, is the pleasure that comes from relationship, from love, which means you have to have people. That's our philosophy. So Shankara teaches, as you were saying, everything is false here, give up everything. We also say that. Everything is false, gradually become detached from it. But then what do you turn to ultimately? For us, it's a relationship with Krishna, with God. Whereas for Shankara, it's just to merge into this energy and light, which we're not even sure can be done. And if you do it, will you be happy? Like imagine if we could all stay here to get together for 1 month, but we're not allowed to talk to each other. How would you feel? Would anyone do it? Most people are saying no, like that. I wouldn't do it. I've got to hang out with all of you for a month. We're 200 acres, we all stay, but we're not allowed to talk. What is that? Because I can learn so many things from you. Yeah, the reason I organise this open day is just so people can come, I can get to speak to them. A lot of cool people. So, we exchange things. And then you develop love. Love means, close relationships. We have like a very strong bond. That's love. That's the purpose of existence. So that's what we emphasize in our teaching. Shankara just says, get rid of all the negative thing, but then just become part of the cosmic oneness. We don't want to become part of the cosmic oneness. We want to become part of the cosmic variety, right? Where we all exist, but we're pure, and we relate to each other purely and with love. Does it make sense? Yeah. Difference. Any other questions? Someone else had a hand up, but I can't remember who it was. Anything else? Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. Very nice questions. Nice to have you all here. Please come again. This is your home. Please come again. You're all welcome at this place. It is your home. Please come. TK? Okay. No problem. So we have a free book here, a free magazine, Hare Krishna. It tells all about the Hare Krishnas all over the world. If you want to learn more, it's free. It's just here. You can come up and get it. Those who have given donations already online, thank you very much. We appreciate it. It costs a lot to run all this, so we appreciate your donations. If you didn't give a donation as yet, the donation box is there if you'd like to give something. We would appreciate that also. We're going to serve outside the kitchen. The meal will be served out there. It's a little bit cold today. The dining room's next door, but we're going to serve here because there's so many people. So you can get your meal. If you want to go inside, you're welcome to go into the dining room. You can sit in there, you can have your meal there. Or if you want to just sit around the building, you can do that also. It's not too cold, but if you do feel cold, feel free to go in there as well. So please come again. After the feast, we'll have the feast. After that, we'll go and see our cows. So if you'd like to see the world's most fortunate cows, they're all on the other side of the farm waiting for you. They probably think they're going to get fed something. So if you come here as a guest, if you bring carrots, apples and bananas, you'll become very popular with our cows. They give blessings, actually. The cows are mystical. It would take me a while to describe that. I won't describe it right now, but our cows are mystical. So if you please them, you can pat them and feed them. If they're happy with you, you'll get blessings. And your life will become very fortunate. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.